This is going to be recorded and put up to YouTube. I suppose I started the recording so that for if you're watching on YouTube later, so you can kind of follow along or come back later. So, as I kind of was mentioning, the idea I had was like Mac OS now supports light and dark theme. I don't know if Windows does. I haven't used Windows in God knows how long. Um, but I like the idea of like being able. Everyone seems to be obsessed with theming sites and you know doing all this cool shit when it comes to themes. So I want to be able to try and theme my site based on that. So detect whether it's a dark theme OS or light theme OS and apply some styles to the site. So we've got our wine, another Malbec. Let's see, time to get started. So first things first, I did some research ahead of time for this to see what are the parts that I'm going to need in place. I think luckily enough I found there is a like CSS API that can support this. So it's called Prefers Color Scheme. So we get some questions in the chat. What OS are you using? I'm using Mac OS Catalina, like the wine mixer. So I'll put myself off track now.
Because they're watching the comments. The Bob Ross is close.
Good call with the Bob Ross there in the chat. I think I know what raid means on Twitch. I'm like very, very new to Twitch, so I get half of the stuff. I think it's like another channel comes in, but fuck right. So that's not updated. So what I'm trying to do is I want to take the user's OS theme and then apply that to my site. There is this CSS API prefers color scheme, and I think we can use this on our site to then be able to detect, right, are they a light theme user, are they a dark theme user, and then work from that. So I think if I grab this and search it, so if we search on MDM, we're going to get, as you can see, I did a little research ahead of time. We're going to get some of the documentation around this. Again, so this whole series is Hello Drunk World, where I get drunk and try and hash something out in an hour to an hour and a half. We'll see how it goes. Fueled by wine, I think we should be able to knock together something where I can say, get the users. I keep on saying customer because I'm customer focused in work, but this is not for customers. This is just for people who don't have too much free time in their hands to read my blog. But I want to get their OS theme and then apply some themes to my site based on that, because I'm the kind of person that there's nothing like, especially this site I'm looking at right now. This is the light theme site, and it's bright white. But my OS is dark theme, my ID is dark theme, everything uses dark theme. Like if I could go to a site and it knew that I would prefer dark theme, I would want it to use dark theme. So we can see here the syntax. We can call this query selector in CSS, and you can say no preference, light or dark. And if we look at the quick example, I don't care, I don't want to read into too much of the documentation. But we can see a quick example here, like they have a base set of CSS, they have our media queries that they're triggering. And I'm wondering, how can we quickly pull this in? So when I try and like prototype and do things quickly, I think one of the tools I really find useful is using Code Sandbox. So if we pull up Code Sandbox, this is where I do all my prototyping. If you've never heard of it, it's a super cool tool. It allows you to just create a project in the browser using a browser-based IDE. Really cool note. I mentioned one of my last streams before, like each of these little boxes that drop, that's a new project that someone's created, and you can like drag and drop them and play about with them. Such a useless but really cool feature. There's another one, and this is all since I've viewed. So you can see at the bottom it says since I viewed this page. These are the how many projects that people have created. So I'm going to fire up and create a new sandbox. I'm just going to do vanilla JS to keep things simple, and I want to hack together some of this CSS. So first thing to do is I don't really care about these night and day tags, I think we can like hack around them pretty quickly. So let's see how we can do that. So the vanilla.js package they give you is just, you know, an index file, some CSS, some styles of CSS. This is where we care about it. So if I copy and paste this in, it's going to do nothing. But I wonder, we have some styles in our body. I think I can just apply styles to the body. So I want dark to have a black background and white text. So if I get rid of that, and then I don't have this selector, so I'm just going to do body as my selector, and we can already see a change, which is interesting. So I'm running dark theme on macOS, and then if we say the same, so for light theme we want a white background and black text. So obviously nothing changes here, but if I do system preferences and go to general, so you can see this is my like theme, or appearance as macOS calls it. But I wonder if we change these up. So if I flick to light, so my OS has changed. So Chrome's turned to light theme, and this page. So this is just a web page. This is turned to light theme, which is very interesting. So if we flick back to dark, it does that. I wonder what auto does. I haven't tested this out. If you see me looking to the side, I'm looking to my producer. I love the assistant wife. Everything good?
Yeah, it just was buffering there for a wee bit.
So for some reason, auto prefers white, but I wonder, is that, there's an option here, no preference. So if I create a theme of no preference, so flick to the editor, so if I create one of these with no preference, I wonder what can happen there. So if I go back to MDN, you can see it takes no preference as an option. We've already done light and dark. So if I go colors, prefers color scheme, no preference, and I go pink as the background and yellow as the foreground. Is that, yeah, I wonder what the no preference is for. But I only really care about light and dark. Everyone has a light and dark theme on their website, so we're not too fussed about that. I'd be worried about the no preference would be an OS that doesn't support theming. And I guess you would have your base. So when we get into how we're going to do the theme itself, we'll see how we can do like bases and layer on top of that. An interesting comment there from Carlos. Maybe it's based on the time of day. If that is true, like that would be pretty fucking cool. And like as the day, like you could build a site that as the day goes on, the background like gradient gets darker and darker and darker, and it slowly turns into a night theme. So like your eyes would adjust and work with the website. If that is true, that would be pretty cool. If I close that Finder because I keep on opening it. So for some reason system preferences does never stay open for me. So we're going to go back to dark because that white is destroying my eyes. So another drink. So we have the basic understanding. We have a media query, prefers color scheme, you pass it a value, dark or light, no preference. We're not too fussed about no preference for now. I want to just focus on light and dark because if we go to the site, so this is the site I'm trying to apply this to, the dyslexicdeveloper.com. So by default it's a dark theme because I'm a dark theme developer. If we look at my IDE, it's all dark theme. My terminal, all dark theme. So we want to stick with that kind of vibe. It's for me, it's better on the eyes. I'll probably not have any eyesight when I'm an old man. So we want to apply the same thing. So I want to play about with the styles of this. So let's jump in and do like our first quick blast at this. So yes, go to your IDE, and this is a Gatsby site. So Gatsby.js, and it's a really cool site. It's just like a plug and play boilerplate tool that has all these cool things in it, but I use it for a blog, which is the most basic implementation, but it just works out of the box. It's quick as shit. Getting some comments there, but terminal that I am very, very proud of my terminal theme. I ripped it off from Ken Wheeler. I think he changes his handle so much. But yeah, if you follow this guy here, you get some cool retro wave beats and some funky shit. So definitely worth a follow. But yeah, so we're going to be applying this to a Gatsby site. A Gatsby site is just a way of laying out, tools, maybe to build a blog or a shop site or anything that kind of could be CMS-y. Like, it looks to be like a really good replacement for the likes of WordPress and these kind of tools. There's still the CMS backend side of thing that's missing, but if you watch one of the previous videos, I took a look into Redwood, which looks to be like the solution for this. But for us, I think we're sticking with styles. So thankfully, we have like a global styles .css file, and this is like very basic, and there's not a lot going on here because in most of my actual development, I use style components, so I can like localize my styles and handle everything there. That's going to come into play maybe later if we try and look at how style components can handle theming. But I think for now, like we're going to hit small wins and try and get stuff going. Another drink. It could be a very quick drinking session, but we'll see how it goes. So first things first, we want to grab those media queries that we built up. And I guess, so CSS is cascading, and anything that happens after another style overrides it. There's a certain specificity, I can't pronounce that word. So obviously, like, we're defining already, we have a black background, white text, basic. If I put the media queries above, they would get overridden by this. So we want to fire this down here. For now, I might change it. So this out of the box could work. So let's run up our site. And I think I have an alias that runs it for me. If not, is it npm start? Yes, npm start. Okay, npm start runs npm run develop, which is Gatsby's like develop command. So what does it run? Keep it alive in the chat. And top up the wine. I always like to do this underneath the mic to get a little bit of ASMR. Is it ASMR? ASMR?
No, ASMR.
ASMR. Aye. It's the dyslexic developer for a reason. So this has built the site. So it's built and it's running locally on localhost 8080. So if we grab this, fly over to Chrome, you can hit this up. So all good, I guess, because I'm in dark theme. So I wish system preferences would not keep closing. We flipped the light. So now we got a light. Fuck, that is bright. But like, okay, so like, if the goal of the stream was to change the theme of my site based on the OS's theme, we're kind of done now, but it's like 20 minutes past. I think we probably got a little bit more that we can do here. So I'm going to flip back to dark because that's hurt my eyes, and you might even see the brightness hitting me on the camera. So what else can we do here? Like that seems to be a very basic scenario. And if we delve into this, you can see, we have a body style that has our background color, our color for our text, and then this media query is going to call body and then apply another style into that, which would inherently overwrite this. I wonder though, can we do this in a nicer way by doing something like CSS variables, which I've never used before. And this is the point of Hello Drunk World. So I don't know how to use CSS variables, so I have got my this is my talking sheet. So we're gonna go CSS variables, and hopefully there'll be some quick, dirty tutorial that'll give me like the TLDR. I don't want to fuck about too much. So it looks like we have to wrap it in this colon root and then apply our variable name, or we can just do minus minus. How do we just define a property on its own? We'll keep this open, but yeah, okay, I knew there was going to be a CSS tricks article on this, which will give me, everything seems to be written by Chris Core. He must have turned out tons of shit. So pre-processing variables, $, that looks like Sass, that's not CSS. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, so root, so you must have to define the variables. And then you say var variables that. I wonder how we reassign. So we're gonna try this out. If we go root, I'm gonna say BG for background color because I'm lazy, and it's gonna be our default background color. We're going to create another one. We're going to do text color, and it's going to be our default off-white color. Apparently you're never meant to use white as a text color because it's a designer's sin. I'm not a designer, but we'll see how that goes. So there's a chat there in the there's a question in the chat about getting the link. So the development isn't live at the minute, what I'm working on, but I'll hopefully be able to post some of it live. Thanks for the follow. But if you go to the dyslexicdeveloper.com, you'll check out the current version of the site is running a minute. Have a look at some of the blog posts I have. There's a little bit about me section where I brag about myself because that's what you do in an about me section. So you can check that out there. This is all kind of local dev. I'm hoping maybe like if we get something we could push this up. Maybe this is a very basic version, maybe not going down too deep. So we have a background color CSS variable, a text color CSS variable. So then I should be able to use these. If I can remember off the top of my head what they did in that, it was var and then dash background color, var dash text color. Thanks for the follow. And then I wonder, can we overwrite these at a later stage in our CSS? Because we have these media queries that get triggered. So let's go back to the run side just to make sure it still works. Yes, it still works. It's still dark by default. How do we reassign variables? I know you can reassign them through JavaScript, and that was the whole reasoning behind CSS variables, was you could create variables in your CSS, they would apply the styles, and then at runtime your JavaScript could change those variables so you weren't manually manipulating styled properties on HTML. But surely, okay, so actually there you go. So you just do dash and inside of that tag you do dash and whatever you want to change it to. So this is the reassignment of the variable. So we could do that inside of our media query. So that means whenever it hits that query, it's reassigning that variable. And if anyone's in the chat watching along, like what the fuck is going on, stop, shout, fire away. So based on this, they're saying inside body minus color equals orange. So I think I can go pull these variables down and then say, well, actually I need what those colors were. I guess, can I say background color is black? Well, actually, if it's dark, so I'm dark by default, so technically we don't really need this media query. We only want to tackle the white one. It would be best to keep both, I guess, in a production environment, but So we're going to change our background to #3es, whatever that is, and then change that. This is like throwing up a lot of shit, and I don't know why. Come on, WebStorm, tell me what I need to do. Unexpected token. It should be okay. It could be just WebStorm's just not handling this yet. So we jump back to our local version, fire that up. For some reason, System Preferences kills itself every time I close it. So when we flick the light, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Something went wrong. It's complaining here. So an identifier is expected. Is that a semicolon or a colon? Yeah, it was a semicolon. So if in doubt, skim through this article to see what the fuck is going on. It's doing them all ahead of time, so maybe we need to fire this. Up here. No, that did nothing. I thought that might have helped. I bet you I'm missing something. Dash color. Yeah, okay, so fuck, I need to change this theme back because I can't read properly with that light. So we say CSS variables reassign. Reassign the variable? I want to see how I reassign the variable in the actual CSS itself. I don't want to be doing it via JavaScript. This looks like it. So, someone's complaints. Some not handling repeated substitutions. They're not normal variables to be used. So they're kind of saying you can't do that. So that you set your root. That is all your variables. Say dark theme sets that, and then that. I kind of feel like that's what we were doing, but maybe it isn't. What are we missing? So we've got a root. We're setting our two values inside of our media query, which is just a selector. So I wonder if I just did dot something and fired these two, and maybe it's a media query selector just won't play nice with it. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. So, oh shit! It just clicked. If we fire, okay, that if this works, this is really strange. Let's see if it works before I go off on a rant. So. Open up System Preferences, change our theme. Okay, that worked. So it seems to be you can't just call the variables inside of a selector. Well, you can't call them inside of just a media query. It needs to be inside of the selector, inside of a media query. So the highest, I guess, is body. You could do. Can you do HTML? I wouldn't recommend it. There's no DOM elements outside of the body that you want to base that on. So you have to have the body tag and then change what they are. So now we can get rid of this. So now what we're saying is these are our defaults. So we're defaulting to let's see, styles to dark mode. Mode. Default sets to dark mode. If the user has light change. So default to dark if the user has preferred schema light, which in their OS is telling the website or telling the browser, I prefer light themes. Then we can change it. So that kind of that is working. Like we could ship that. I wonder, should I commit this? Because in case I break shit. Oh, I'm gonna commit this before, because this could be the only workable thing that I can ship. So clear the terminal. Even though, funny, when I use git, I always do git status, even though I know what the files are that I've changed. And then I just do git add all. I don't know why. And I want to commit this. So I want to say theme based on OS. Which I kind of guess, like, this is going to cover all scenarios. I want dark theme by default, and if the user wants light theme, they're going to get it. If they don't have the ability to choose the theme that they have, they're going to get dark anyway, because that's what I wanted, which I think is good. So we've committed that change. If all else fails, that's our fallback. But I was thinking about this a little bit further. So like, that's the CSS variables way. It's a very basic way of doing it. You know, if the prefers color scheme handled more themes, we could do so much more. Like, you know, there could be a colorblind theme, high contrast, low contrast themes, all these kind of different themes that would, you know, feed into accessibility and all that kind of stuff. Oh, that was in terminal. But I think we can leave the CSS variables at that point, and I kind of want to dig into, like, right, that's all fine doing through CSS, but as I mentioned earlier, I do a lot of my styling through style components. I went blank there. And I kind of want to see, like, can we grab these variables and tell via JavaScript what the OS theme is, and then potentially do things with that. I think the funniest thing you could possibly do is, so I'm going to flick back. I don't even remember my hotkeys. I'm going to go to my producer to check on me. I'm going to try flicking back to full cam. Probably will kick in a few seconds. I'll keep talking while that's going on.
Yeah.
So one of the things I thought was funny, like, you know, because I'm a developer and I work predominantly in dark theme mode and everything, you know, you could potentially, like, you know, penalize a user for, like, having dark theme on. It's such a cruel and funny, awkward thing, but the web's full of funny, cruel sites, and you could potentially do something where, like, if you could detect in JavaScript they have light theme preferred, you could, like, start potentially, you know, like, moving DOM elements around the page and showing no crappy ads and all this kind of shit. It could be a cool, like, fun game to play with users. You know, like, you know, hating on light theme users. It seems to be like a trend in developer world where you, if you're not a real developer unless you're using dark theme everything, which I prefer dark theme. I'm not gonna fucking hate on people for the color scheme they use in their browser. I know people who run, like, inverted colors because not everything supports dark theme, and that's their way of getting around it, which I would never go near. So let's get back. So technically now, what we have, let's build and push this, because we can, and then it means whoever is watching along can check that site out live, play about with themselves. I'm curious to see if there's any Windows users watching to see whether the same, or whether the ability is there for them. I'm not sure if Windows provides theme switching in the OS level, but I'm curious to see what that would be like. So we're gonna, this is how quick it is to build these tools. So this is Gatsby, GitHub, Netlify. It's going to build a pre-build, but I don't care. We're going to merge it anyway. For merge, delete our branch to clean up, and then we go back here, and I've got a link to Netlify where it's currently building, and we'll have our site live in production, ready to go. annoyingly it's building the branch build for the PR first. Fuck it, right, we can come back to that. So the next bit I have is I want to see if I can get this via JavaScript. So when I did a bit of research, like you can call like window match criteria or match media. So you can call match media and then give it a, from what it looks like, it's a query string. So we'll go to MDM and find out what the docs are for this. So the Windows interface match media returns the media query list object representing the parse results of blah 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 blah. So I think what this will do, it'll trigger the media query that you give it. So this would be actually kind of good, like if you wanted to like do browser-based responsiveness via JavaScript without having to go like, well, so you would prefer doing document.window size or something like that. But you could also say, you know, if as you would do media queries in CSS, like greater than this, less than that, then apply some sort of styling or do some sort of functionality. You would probably do that just by grabbing the dimensions of the browser in JavaScript, but it means this is one of those options that you could potentially do. Just checking up here in the channel. Do I work for Evil Corp? No, I don't. If they were hiring, I think I would be a good candidate in this kind of case. I come up with really interesting ideas how to like pipe bad things into bad things that make funny, terrible results, but that's a stream for a different day. Isn't the counterproductive to hit on the light theme user? They're the most, I guess if the majority is light theme, then the minority are the people who are hating on them. But it's funny, a theme is a theme. I work with people who have light theme on everything, and you know, we laugh and joke at the same time. I'm pretty sure like at the end of the night when I'm finished looking at a dark theme IDE and terminal, my eyes are still burning and still on fire. I don't think that's making much of a difference to me. So back to where we were. So thanks for the follow, Todd Mayak. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. I'm the dyslexic developer. So we have this window match media, which we can give it a media query. If that media query is true, then it'll give us a true or false flag. So there must be an example here that I can just copy and paste. So I can grab this. A really cool tip I usually do whenever I'm trying to test something out, especially if I've read the docs on MDM, you can just, you know, Command Shift or what is it, Command Option on Mac, but I don't know, I think it's like, you know, Command Shift on Windows. You can fire up the Chrome DevTools console. You can start running code. And usually you can just copy past the code from MDM in. Now this isn't the query we want, but it kind of gives us an idea of what the query is going to return for us. So the most important I imagine here is heartburn from that wine's kicking in. Is the matches true or false boolean. There's also this is what I find weird. It returns you the media, which is the media query that you gave it. And then there's an on change function, which I kind of guess would be useful if you had dynamically changing media queries, so you could then pass it a callback function. Then anytime that media query came into play, so whether it matched or didn't match, you could trigger a function, which might play into actually what we need. What I think I'm going to try and do anyway with the JavaScript implementation of this. Get a drink and not ASMR. Yes, I got it, ASMR. So we can take our media query out of here, which is prefers color scheme light. We pull this up again and try that. Will it give us something? So it gives us false, as I kind of would hope. So then system preferences, general, change to light. If I run this again, it's now matching to true. So now we have a programmatically JavaScript way to get, does the OS have light theme or dark theme? which is interesting, and it's something that we can maybe try and use here. We'll see how this goes. So again, I'm flicking back because I can't stand lighting, I don't know, comment in the chat, complain to each other. Whoever's got the light thing, argue your case. So that's now. So I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave the CSS as it is, but I want to see like our index kind of page. So our index is like our all blogs page, which thankfully is called index. It's a React component. We might run into some issues with React, but we'll see how it goes. But I think we can do some logic here. So I'm going to keep it all outside of the component for now, because this should happen at initialization phase, and then we can like tag on and do some fun stuff maybe. So if I pull this in from here, see, how do they handle the on change? I think I refreshed the page. It uses an on change, so that's going to just take me to a generic on change handler. So I guess I could say that dot on change, and it usually takes an event, and for now I want a console log, so I'll do event.log, and WebStorm will give me that. Let's see, so that's going to log out for me. So if I go back to my local site, oh, it's not running, I need to restart it. So we'll give that a start, check the chat. All looking good. We managed to make it the whole way through the stream without having a vapor or a cigarette, but I'm contemplating heavily. We'll see how that goes. As again, anyone who joined after the beginning and the explanation start, this is the Hello Drunk World series from the Dyslexic Developer, where I get drunk and try and build something in an error. And we got an error. On change is not a function. Why? Oh, it returns a value, then you call the on change on that. Isn't that that way? So it returns a media query list. Oh, for fuck's sake! It's for me being dyslexic, this is a bad comment. Is it on ch? On change? No. Okay, well it's weird anyway that they call it on change with a lowercase c. Thanks for some bike artists. If we catch on in one of the next streams. Right, so it's annoying that this is on change with lowercase c. Everything should be camel, whatever case. But this seems to return a variable for us, and that variable has an on change function. In their example, they do something like that. They assign it to a variable first. So they say media query, and then that matches. Okay, so I wonder, can we say let test equals EBT. So we're going to create a function on the fly in the Chrome DevTools. We'll see how this goes. Console.log EBT. So we've now assigned that. So test.onChange should be a function. If I change my theme, will this trigger something? It did. Okay, so yeah, I was just being stupid. So go back to dark. Let's try this again. So in here, I can say dot on change equals a new function. It's going to be an arrow function, doing those brackets, log out the event. So go back here, come on, reboot, reboot, reboot. Then system preferences, general. So now we have a way in JavaScript to say, like, have they changed? Well, it's not necessarily have they changed, have they met? Which is interesting, we'll get that in a second. It gives us a ton of stuff, but I guess like we can kind of say, you know, they've changed and this has been met. So potentially, let's go back. I could write something like this. So if we copy this and we create an onChange function for dark, and oh shit, no, isn't it? Well, actually, their change functions, we'll leave them as is because I want to catch the change. But we can also say you know, so like because they're change based, so they'll only trigger if the user changes their theme while they're on our side, which is very, very unlikely. Whereas I kind of want to say, like, you know, what is their current theme? So if we log out this dot, is it matches? Come on, yeah, matches. So actually, wait, we can clean all this up. So we can say shit, the drinks are going. So we can say that ampersand. So if this is true, then print this text. Current theme is dark. Copy pasta, change dark to light. And current theme is light. I don't know why we have a semicolon there. And we'll ignore the onChange functions for now. So we're rebuilding. So current theme is dark. So I want to refresh that just for start. Current theme is dark. Where's that false coming from? Oh, it's still going to log out the false. Yeah, we don't care about that. So we can programmatically tell this is the current theme. Nothing should happen, but if we change the theme, nothing will happen. Oh, I thought the Mac was going to crash. Nothing will happen. Go back to dark, nothing will happen because we don't have our event lister. So these are like the I don't know, like load time events, if you could say, or load time values. Then we can grab these and say these are like, if it changes while they're there, we can programmatically react to that. So this is dark, so we're going to log out new theme is dark, and then log out new theme is light. It's funny, like when I type up all caps, I have to hold the shift key because I disabled my caps lock key on every keyboard I use, because the caps lock key is useless and it doesn't help with anything. But at the same time, when I need to type like multiple things, I guess I could go light, select, command shift. Yeah, shift command U, the uppercase it. But right, it's going to rebuild our site. Let's retest this. Let's going to flick back the chat, make sure nothing's going on. Notice, okay. So from a fresh refresh, current theme is dark. Then system preferences again, and switch the light. Oh, new theme is dark, new theme is light. So this must trigger because it changed from dark to light, which is interesting and kind of annoying, but time wise, it shouldn't kill us. It shouldn't kill us. Go back to dark light. Oh, because they technically did match. They changed. Let's log out the event on each of these. We're getting potentially closer time, but I think I might go a little bit longer if I look at my producer on the side. Yeah, we'll go a little bit longer. I don't think we're going to get style component theming out of the way. Style component theming is a very hard task, but I think we could like dirty hack like styled attributes onto something and change it without CSS. I kind of want to see that. So this is going to be. So, quick tip if you're wondering what I'm doing when it comes to like my like login implementation. You can pass console log a string. Well, you can pass it multiple parameters. I pass it the string of where it is and what I want to log, and then I can expect that in Chrome. So it's not just only a string or only an object or whatever. You can pass it like multiple things, so you can like annotate almost where that's being called, because sometimes it's hard to kind of like rationalize and go back and know the line of code where you were working on it. So let's go back, let it reload, kill the browser, restart. Gatsby can be a bit funny sometimes. So current theme is dark. Oh, mine's kicking in. Now we go light. So our dark event, then our light event triggered. Or NEV, not even new. I can't fucking spell new. Come on. This event does have a match. It matches false. So the event has changed from matching true to matching false, which would make sense that it would log out on the on change. So I guess we could say if event event dot matches, because it's a boolean, we just need to say that. We'll change that to new. Thanks for everyone in the chat for keeping me straight there. I didn't look stupid at all until I deleted that. So for time's sake, we're going to copy pasta. I'm going to say this is actually light. The theme is light. So this technically should be able to trigger on the event saying you change from dark to light, blah blah blah. So refresh, current is light. Dark. So new theme is dark. So we can now detect that the theme is changing. This is all really good. What do we do with this? So in the ways that I kind of debug and hack, I'm like quick and dirty way. We've already published. Have we published? Have we published? Yep, we've published. So the current version of DyslexiCDeveloper.com works off your system OS theme. Probably should have put a bit more effort and time into actually changing the styles on it, but let's see, let's drag this down. I think that's the live website changing. That's something. But what I'm thinking we do is we can tap into the styles. So I can do like document dot body dot styles, I think, and I can go styles dot background equals white. Now, I would not recommend doing this whatsoever, but this is something we could do. So we could actually apply the styles through JavaScript. Now this isn't a proper styling protocol or a really recommended way of doing styling, but it's something, I guess. So we have our events, like it went from light to dark, dark to light. So in our light, we're going to fire that in. I guess we want to do color equals black. And then invert them for the alternative. Now this is such a dirty, hacky way of doing it, but I don't want to be on here all night trying to work out like style components, theming. That's if it changes. We also need to handle if the default, whatever the default is. So I guess we need to copy and paste. So that is our dark. What happened? Oh, that matches, and oh, if it matches that, let's make this an if statement. So yeah, I made like a kind of inline conditional, but that's not going to work for our purposes. So we need to turn it into an if statement. So this is our dark. And we'll grab our light. Turn this into an if statement. Then I kind of feel like we could probably, I don't know, it doesn't matter, but we could create a function. Function apply dark styles. Actually, apply styles. And it takes in a theme. And in here it says, we'll go for a switch. We can take a switch statement and we can say case dark, if I remember how to write a switch statement. No, fuck it, no, actually. We'll just do an if statement because we're going to get, well, don't need to return. So we can say, so if dark, run that, break, then case light, and then do the same but invert it. God, we could go so deep into this function where like you could write some sort of logic to invert. Oh, and then default is going to be dark because that's what I prefer is by default. Like we could go so deep into like, you know, writing a function that would flip and invert the colors. So like white would be black and black would be white and all that kind of crack. I guess that's for another stream. So we have light, dark, default. So now we can then stop fat finger typing for a start. Grab apply styles, and we can say, right, if dark matches, call that and pass it dark. If light matches, call that but pass light. If dark has changed, so as in went from light to dark, we're going to go dark. And if light has went from dark, or dark has gone from light, we can do that. Now we still have a little bit of CSS in play doing this. Oh, we have errors as well. What are all the errors about? Oh, this is GraphQL being a bitch. We still have CSS handle all this, so I don't know, we'll just comment that out and see how it goes. This could go horribly wrong, and it looks like it has. Oh shit, that's lots of error partial management token. If I can't find the fucking if variable. Am I being crazy here? Oh, because it's inside a console log. Fuck, that's why. I'll zoom in a little bit there for the viewers. Yeah, so I forgot that I've been wrapping all this conditional logic inside console logs, which would not make a lot of sense if that was correct JavaScript. So, okay, my my links turned blue. Oh yes, they turned blue because I forgot. I commented them out as well. I want to keep my link styles. Link styles can be the same based on whatever theme you have. Yeah. So now, let's look at the actual. Let's look at the network tab, and let's go for CSS. So, blah 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 blah. CSS family. So we should just have font families coming back. We shouldn't have any CSS. Yeah. So there's no CSS controlling the actual theme of the site. This is all now controlled by JavaScript. So again, system preferences, general. If we trigger this, our site has turned white or light theme. All via JavaScript. No CSS, no nothing. If used static components, you could then harness this, build it into your theming mechanism, and make something that potentially could be themable in and out of static components. But I actually think that's pretty cool. And the fact that it does load so quick with the dark theme, I think I might ship this just to kind of see. You know, people complain about using window and applying inline styles, but you know, if it works, it works. But someone's telling me the default doesn't even matter because we don't call it default. Do we not call it default? Because it matches something at least. I'll not ship this while I'm inebriated because I believe in the CSS variables way. I think this is still a good way. I think there's edge cases that need to be accounted for. Obviously, tacking on styles, like inline styles, are not, you know, they're not good because they're impossible to override. It doesn't leave you any kind of wiggle room for, you know, extendability. But there's something. I guess before I close up. Yeah, so I think we're kind of getting close to endish time. I think I'll reward myself with a cigarette. My producer agrees, as in says no. Hasn't said no. There's obviously a delay here, so I'm gonna give it a second. If there's any questions, comments, stuff like that from the chat, it took too long to say that. And if I can figure out how to get back to the camera, I think I'm back in the camera right now. Obviously this is very new to me. Scan. Yeah, so thanks to everyone who kind of watched along, followed the journey. I think it's what kind of drove me for this was I think I recently updated my macOS and was able to right now I can go dark mode, and we've been like developers, they want dark mode, they want fucking, you know, dark mode everything. Like if you were watching along on the stream, like my Chrome DevTools is in dark theme, terminals in dark theme, editors in dark theme, and it's having that ability to, you know, theming seems like such a trivial thing to do. It's really hard to actually do because you need to think about the contrast, the color, the way like things look and feel in these different color sets. Plus, as well, matching all the accessibility rules that are out there. But being able to apply, deal with all that kind of stuff is really hard. But having this ability now, like the API I showed you, it's available in every browser bar IE, I think. I'm pretty sure it's in an old version of Edge. So if you're on any Windows PC now, you probably have Edge running. All the browsers have adopted this. I like this idea of adapting your site to the user instead of the user having to adapt themselves to your site. There's so many sites I go into, and you have to choose your thing. Do you want it dark? Do you want light? Blah 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 bullshit. Stack Overflow just announced that it's got I don't say just. It's been telling me every time I go on there looking for how to center a div. But it's announced that it's supporting dark theme and telling you to go to the preferences and turn it on. Why not just apply it? If it knows my OS is dark theme preferred, just apply that theme. So I think there's room there to kind of adapt to the user. I'm really curious to see how much more OS level stuff can be passed into the browser to tell the browser, this is what the user has set up, this is their configuration, this is what's going on. But we already have media queries are great for responsiveness. Are they on an iPad? Are they on a phone? Are they on a widescreen monitor? Are they on a Retina monitor? I think there's even something for that. But there's different other things. Do they have an accelerated graphics card that they can handle extra processing or offload processing to that? So maybe you run some WebGL 3D graphics for them, but not for other people. I seen a really good example recently where Wes Bos rebuilt his own personal site, and if you have a really big monitor, it must be tacking onto the viewport size, he'll have a message down the side saying wow, you have a really big monitor, and it only shows for people who have that size of screen, which is really interesting. It's kind of tailoring little tiny micro interactions and micro experiences to the user, because it's that little one user here and there that might make a bit of a difference. But I think we're good in the chat, we're good in the stream, we'll call it that. See you next week.